Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Welcome back because it's my second ever episode. If you're coming here now for the first time ever, thanks for being here. I have some interesting things to talk about. So let's talk because you're seeing me right now the day you're getting this video. It's what? December 3rd. You should be getting the video December 3rd. You should be getting the podcast December 3rd. Let's talk about what happened because I filmed my previous episode that I was going to upload today, probably like December 23rd or 22nd. So here's what happened. I literally have to go to work in like a couple hours. So I recorded the podcast and I'd gotten it done, but I got it done because I felt like I had to get it done. I was like, okay, I need to stay on schedule. I'm way behind schedule. I should have uploaded this on Friday, but it's neither here nor there. So I recorded it with the intentions of uploading it on Friday, and I recorded it and it was fine, but I was recording it hot off of an anxiety attack that led me to leave work early. So I was kind of just this isn't gonna resonate with people, not because people don't have anxiety. I think actually it's great that I would have posted that, but it was a little unhinged and it was not appropriate in the place that I am right now. I'll touch up on it just because I think I have to recap the last week and a half that you haven't seen me, because I think it'll be interesting. And I have far better notes this time, and I'm going to tell a different story. So I don't want anybody to feel misled, because I'm actually going to tell the story of the time two demons attempted to possess my body. Or I honestly don't know what their intentions were, whether it was to possess me or take my soul or X, Y, and Z. But the only thing that protected me in that moment was a rosary that I held very dear to me, which I'll tell the story about that rosary as well, which is very interesting because it appeared in my life overnight and it also disappeared out of my life. Literally the joke, it grew two legs and walked away. That was the rosary. So, I will talk about what happened in the last week. So when I recorded that, like I said, I was having a really bad anxiety attack, and I just felt like I had to get something off my chest, and that was the way that I exercised it. The anxiety, I said in that podcast, in that episode, that the anxiety was over, but it's actually quite not over. It's still happening, and I've finally figured out the root of my anxiety. Because I had told the story in the previous scrapped podcast, I came home early from work, 4 hours early from work, and I laid in bed naked and just spoke to myself. I felt every note in my body. I was feeling everything out. I was trying to really search for the root of the issue, because I think for me personally, with my mental disorders, I have the luxury of when I do have one, or when I do have something like that, like my severe anxiety attacks, I am afforded the luxury of intellectualizing them. Don't play with me. Intellectual. You're gonna piss me off. I have the luxury of really thinking it through. I'll have an anxiety attack, but I'll be then and there trying to dissect what's wrong and try to get to the root of the issue before anybody else becomes collateral damage. And I told my manager that I was I'm gonna scream at somebody if you don't let me go home. So he let me go home. And I was here just feeling it out. And at the time, I hadn't figured it out. I do realize now, and I'm working overtime, not literally but metaphorically, to get out of the situation that's giving me the anxiety. So that's what I'm doing now. But so, yeah, I was having a lot of anxiety. I came and recorded the podcast because I was just I need to. And I'm editing it back, and it's not good. It was a lot of annoying, just rambling. And it wasn't cohesive. I didn't have talking points. I was just speaking. And not that it has to be super formal and organized all the time, especially for somebody like me. I was just no, that's not gonna cut it. And then the story that I was gonna tell you guys was very sloppy and very messy, and I didn't I didn't remember most of the details. I had to go back in my notes and remember them. And this story I'm about to tell you, I remember detail by detail, luckily. So, yeah, and then I was just going through genuine discomfort. Like anxiety kind of does that to you. It makes you feel out of place and makes you feel not assimilated in the space that you're in, even if the space is familiar. So I was struggling with that and just genuine discomfort and like the lack of motivation. Like I didn't want to edit the podcast. I didn't have any interest in editing the podcast. I was just like, at least I have it. At least I have it filmed. But that's not fair. Um so yeah, that's why there's this awkward gap. I did go through some mental issues. And then so I went through the mental issues for like a week, and then Thanksgiving happened. So then it was like we had like a 4 day, yeah, like a 4 day Friendsgiving drag, which was honestly one of the best Friendsgiving or Thanksgiving I've ever had in the history of my life. But we like shopped 2 days before, and then we worked the day before Thanksgiving, and then because it's all my friends from work. It's my really dear friends Alex, Sam, and Tyler. We're shopping 2 days before. I believe that we all worked the day before. I can't super remember because what was Thanksgiving on a Friday? I think we all worked. Um, I think yeah, Wednesday. I think we all worked. Or I didn't actually. Oh no, I did. Oopsies. We all worked. And then the next day was Thanksgiving, and Sam and Tyler cooked everything. Like they did everything. Me and Alex were just there for like, well, Alex was hosting, and then I was just there for like ambiance. um, but we had some fun things go on that night too. So they cooked all day, and then we had a ball. I mean, for the most part, I left at like 2 a.m. because my social battery had ran out, and I don't have I can easily set my pride aside and like my FOMO aside and just be like, I have to go. So that's what I did, and I left with my friend Laura because she came for a little bit, and then she went home. I went home. So and then Tyler and Sam ended up sleeping over at Alex's place, um, and then I like woke up and I'm cleaning, and I had something come up too. So I had gone to church to console with somebody, and I was like, what happened last night? Because I missed a lot. I missed a pocket of friend groups that came in after I left. So I was like, oh, what happened? And they were like, a lot happened. And I was like, okay, like what's up? What's the deal? And they're like, and Alex was like, Sam and Tyler are still here if you want to come over. Well, he didn't offer. He was like, Sam and Tyler are still here. And I was like, okay, I'll be there. Then I went, and then honestly, we were all there until like 10 p.m. the next day after Friendsgiving. It's just that I had gone home for a couple of hours to take a break, but Sam and Tyler were there for probably 28 hours, which is insane. So yeah, my Friendsgiving for the most part was excellent. I wish I was with family, but these people so quickly have become my new family, so it was nice to be with them, especially because me and Alex have like a really special religious connection. Um, and since day one, I've always appreciated Alex's energy towards my line of work and how we've like exchanged words and appreciation towards each other. Because I also appreciate how receptive he is to everything and how well he like takes in information. He's like a sponge about this stuff, the religious stuff. So, yeah, it was excellent. Those are my girls, like Alex and Tyler and Sam. Those are my girls. Like those are my number ones. So yeah, it was fun, and I like had a great time. I fucked up the deviled eggs. That's the problem. Don't you ever bring deviled eggs around me because they will be gone. We went out to eat last night. My cousin, and his friend in the like aviation world, and they ordered deviled eggs, and I ate probably like my cousin had two. The friend had zero, and I had like 4 or 5 of them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Because I didn't grow up eating deviled eggs. My mom's like, don't ever bring that stinky shit around. You're having pozole for Thanksgiving, which was actually excellent. But Yeah, which leads into my other point. Speaking about my mother, because she's living in Mexico. I'm going to Mexico this Christmas. Hopefully, that's what I've been told. Basically, the gist was that like my brother called me and well, my brother was like, "Do you want to go to Mexico?" And I was like, "Well, yes." I was like, "Of course." And I was like, "I can't afford $1,000 flight though, because that's how much they're looking at right now. Especially because it's December 3rd now. I luckily have a flight reserved. I'm kind of just waiting for the money to be sent to me, because we found a really good flight through Delta for only like $900. I know that sounds crazy what I just said, but so I was like, well, I can't afford that, and he's like, I'll pay for it, and I was like, whoa, because like my brother, my parents, my dad, his company, they're very well off now, so it wasn't out of the ordinary per se. I just didn't expect that. I didn't expect that to happen for me. That wasn't in my plans this winter. So, and I held my expectations low because I do trust my brother, but I was just like, this can fall through in any moment, and I haven't even booked time off, let alone booked time off for Christmas. Like, and it's already December, so I was just like, okay, um, and so that happened, and I was just like, cool, cool, cool. And then he texts me or calls me yesterday. He's like, I have the money. I'm gonna send it to you tomorrow. And I was like, oh my god, no fucking way. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about going to Mexico because I like have a lot of extremities that I never finished there, and I have something I have to do. I don't know what it is yet. I was told by spirit, I was told by God that they need me in Mexico, and I don't know why. And we're gonna find out. And maybe this is all happening for a reason, but yeah, I'm going to Mexico, so we'll see how that goes. Uploading a podcast for there. I think if I get a carry on, I'll just or if I get a suitcase, I'll just take my microphone out. Uh, unless I can take it on a carry on. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. Um, I'm going to Mexico for Christmas. I'm very excited. Hopefully, the problem is like we already have a ticket reserved, and we have it reserved for 24 hours. So I just need the money within the 24 hours, because I didn't buy it with my money. My account is like not. It's suffering right now. Okay. Also, I want to talk about TikTok and how it's an addiction and how I need to delete it and disappear forever. Because what the fuck is going on? First off, like, let's talk about this girl. Her name is Ash Trevino. She's like an interesting character because she's like is so self-hating, but also like has a complex because like she's like calls Mexican music dumb. She like calls people like she calls people like racially charged words, and she does all of this and then like makes fun of people for not knowing Spanish, but then like doesn't know Spanish, and then like looks very Latina. Like that woman is straight out of Mexico. So I'm like, I don't understand the complexities there. It's probably just like being an American Mexican, however many generations goes back. She probably has like some some self-hatred to work on. But it's funny because she like became so popular for just like not really doing anything. Like I guess she's like an inmate hopper because she like dates inmates, and that's like her thing that people would get mad at her at. And now people just attack her because it's funny, even though I don't really find attacking people that funny. But it's not necessarily unwarranted. Doesn't make it okay. It's just like she's like in the line of fire, and then is surprised when she gets attacked in that line of fire. But essentially, I talk about this because like she's becoming very popular through hatred. Like it's like a second coming of like Shawty Bae, because I think a lot of people just like attacked Shawty Bae because they thought she was annoying and they like wanted to attack her, and then like Shawty Bae kind of like capitalized off of it and is like popular now. Not like breaking through like big media, but like in the TikTok space. And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, because this woman is currently like consuming my For You page. Like everything I watch, everything I do, everything I see, it's about her. You know, viciously and voluntarily or not, because like sometimes I'll skip the videos just because I'm like, I'm not interested right now, and sometimes I'll click the blue comment and I'm watching like tens of videos about this woman. And it's a woman I've never met. It's a woman I don't know. It's a woman that I don't necessarily care about. It's just like TikTok makes it so easy to consume hatred so intimately. I was looking at my fucking TikTok search history. You know, you can like hit blue comments and it like shows you hit a blue comment, it shows you videos, and you can go into your search bar and kind of see all the things you've looked up, and it was just all her. And I had to step back for a second and be like, there's no way this is consuming my life. Like, there's no way this is my current source of entertainment. And yeah, it's so vicious, dude. Like, and I'm on TikTok and it's like, it's happening, and people, and this isn't a conversation about, I'm not here playing devil's advocate, and I'm not here advocating for change or for good or for bad. I don't do that. I'm not an advocate of good or bad. I'm just a sentient human of the world who happens to serve God. And yes, I do champion for good. In this particular situation, I don't care. It's not in my pay grade. It's not in my tax bracket. And it's sure as hell not in my line of work. Like, I don't care about social media debacles. But to know that I don't care so much, yet it still intimately consumes my life, I had like a wake up moment. I was like, whoa, like you need to take a step back and just chill out, because it's like she's not interesting or special. And like I said, I'm not here to judge her character. I just know that my time should not be getting spent on these worldly affairs in that way. Not to sound righteous, not to sound like super self-righteous. I just know that that's like not like, oh, that's not literally, oh, that's not. And yeah, that's kind of it on her. I just like, I don't know, TikTok sucks, dude. And I have been around for enough time on TikTok. Like, I was on TikTok when it was Musically, like back in like 2015. Um and I even remember being like on You Now. I remember being on You Now and like watching lives. And then I went to Musically and I started making Musicallys, and then it like switched to TikTok, and I've been on TikTok ever since. Because I guess Instagram, I didn't really like Instagram as a kid, like younger. But yeah, I've been on TikTok so long, so I've seen people come and go in that fashion of like extremely quick fame from hatred, and then it goes away. Um, I just don't know. She kind of gives me a sinister energy. Like, I don't like the vibes. And I'm here like consuming the hell out of it. But it's like, I don't know. I just have a hard time with like putting the phone down. And also, I'm having a really hard time because this, it's not that social media like I'm suffering because of it. Like, social, I'm fine with or without social media, but because I know I want to pursue this as far as I can, I have to now maintain some kind of relevancy on the internet for myself, to succeed if that's what I choose. And it's hard to not. Like, I almost deleted Instagram and TikTok, but I was like, so what are you gonna do? Like, like, it's just not. And that's kind of it. I just wish I could get off of TikTok. I wish I could have somebody, I could pay somebody to like edit super cuts and just post them. But that's too much work and too much money that I'm not interested in storytelling. Also, I did want to mention, I've been listening to a lot of new music recently. Like, I've finally been retapping into like my J-pop era, because like J-pop is excellent music for what it is. Like, I don't understand any of it, of course, but like the sounds and the singing techniques and like the way that they like project their voice, it's excellent. And there's this particular song I found called Dive, and I don't remember her name, but it's excellent. I wish I knew how to pronounce it. I'll put up a picture, maybe. And then I listened to that album because it's like it's a J-pop album, but it's like 2012 with 90s nostalgia J-pop, so it's like it's a fun balance of like well recorded songs with the same sounds from before. And yeah, I don't know. She's really cool. She's honestly such a vibe. I was looking at her like discography, like her album covers, and I was like, wow, she's dope. Um, but yeah, so oh, I mentioned music, and I'm discovering new music because I think a lot of the internet right now, me included, is discovering Blood Orange and like listening to Blood Orange and like consuming Blood Orange. And where is Blood Orange? Tell me, tell me. Look at me in the face and tell me, because I have no idea. And I don't know if they're active on the socials because I don't follow them, but like they're excellent. I was listening to Coastal Grooves because that whole album is kind of like exactly what I was looking for in the music space. Like, what's the first track called? Unique? Or something like that. I can look at it now. Or Forget It. No, it's because it's like, I feel unique. It's excellent. And I didn't really know that Blood Orange ran with not a crowd, but like I think he has a song with ASAP Rocky. Like I didn't know he was tapped into that sphere of artists. But yeah, I want to find Blood Orange. Maybe I can find him in Soho and he can buy me the new Aritzia sweater that I want because I've been really wanting it, but it's like $400. Um yeah, and what the fuck? What else do I have for you guys? I don't have much, honestly. I don't have much going on. I'm kind of taking a chill pill for the next couple months because I need to start saving up and I need to start paying my credit card back because I keep forgetting about that and I keep putting it off. And I keep collecting like late fees, which is not good for my credit. I'm gonna be like 26 and I have like a 200-point credit score, but it's just so annoying. It's a lot of work, and why would I pay if it's just sitting there? It's literally out of sight, out of mind. But that's not true because I opened my bank app and it's there. Anyway, yeah, I don't have other notes. I actually, funny enough, like cleaned out my notes yesterday. Um, so I will get straight into the story of the attempted thievery of my soul, the attempted possession of my soul. So let me set the scene. This is Arizona. Ooh, sorry. This is Arizona. It's probably around midnight for sure. Like my dad is asleep and he goes to bed at this point by like 9 p.m. No shade. I used to too. Uh and so it's probably like 10 or 11. And at the time, the washer and dryer inside of our trailer weren't working. So we were, and we have like two trailers that are like connected by a bedroom. Like think about like a trailer here and then a trailer here, and there's just like a room that's like the central point connection for the whole two trailers, which is like it was an interesting thing because that was my bedroom, so we had to like block off the other door of the other trailer that they just left there and then like lived in our current trailer. It was so weird. I don't know, whatever. But so I had to do laundry, and at the time I was kind of up that late just because I didn't have any extremities in my life at the time. Like I was just like living. I was just existing because I was still, like I said, in the first episode, I was like just still living off my dad's money. I mean, I was a child. I was probably like 16. I was very young, so I didn't have much to do except for like try to take care of like my dad's plants and like take care of our dog. I don't even know if we had our dog at the time. I have a dog named Shooter, and he's a sweet little angel. He's an Australian Shepherd. I don't even think we had him at the time. So our washer and dryer are broken. So we had like a really old washer and dryer outside that was working. So I had gone outside and I went and I put my laundry in to the washer, and I already felt an energy out there. I felt that it was because it was like, to try to paint how this layout was that the first initial trailer that we don't live in anymore, that's still there, but it's like vacant. That was placed there intentionally and was worked around. So it has like a porch. It has a grass area that doesn't really grow grass because it's Arizona. Um, and then it has like a squared garden. So that was a focal point, was the like half square garden, and then behind it is just like free space for extra trees and grass to grow. So from my angle, I can see the grass patch, the like fake grass patch, because it was basically just dirt, and then this one line of this half squared like garden, because it was just made out of like brick, and it just had like dirt inside. And then the rest is just open land, because like I had mentioned, we live like on an acre, like 2 acres. And at this time, I don't know if just the land was fruitful in the moment, or like we just had a lot of grass there. There was a lot of like overgrown grass, which is so ironic because we had like overgrown grass all in this space, but then grass in the grass patches wouldn't grow. So fucking weird, dude. So, and at this point, it's Arizona, it's farmland, it's pitch black outside. There's not street lights, there's not light pollution, like there's not, you couldn't see much further. I had my flashlight, like my phone flashlight, like you couldn't see much further than like however far your flashlight went. I was out there, I was initially just putting laundry in the washer, and I immediately felt something watching me, but it wasn't necessarily like a paranoia. It was intuition. I intuitively just knew that somebody was watching me or something. I'll get into it. And I felt it, and I knew I was in danger, but I wasn't afraid, because I've never really been afraid. I think I've been scared at times, but to be afraid of a spirit or like a parasite, I've never been afraid of one, because God is real. So, I mean, if demons are real, God's real. So I'm fine. So I wasn't scared. I was just like, I picked up on it. Just like, I was like, okay, something's watching me. Interesting. And I was going to back out just because I wasn't interested in having any affairs that night. But I had to do laundry. I had no fucking clean underwear. What am I meant to do? So I put it in the washer, and then I go inside, and I kind of think it over. Because I'm like, I have to go back outside in an hour to like switch it to the dryer. And so I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what are we doing right now? And I thought to myself, I'm just going to go outside, and I'm going to be carrying my rosary. And I'm wearing it now as an illustration. I'm also just wearing it as I'm fasting. This is about how I had my rosary held. But my initial rosary was long enough that I could grip. I had enough length and bead to have the cross extended and held in this way, and it was still dangling. So imagine that. I had it intertangled in my hand, and I still had enough length to hold it out. And that was a really special rosary to me. It was like a black square beaded rosary. And the story on that rosary is essentially just that, like, I requested a gift from my grandmother. Because this was still in a time when I didn't really believe anything that was happening to me was real. I thought I was just mentally ill. And that's still on the table. But I didn't believe any of it. So I was just like, I need proof. I need to be shown something. So I request that night. I'm like, I want proof. I need to be shown. And maybe I was out of place for that. But I wake up the next morning, I go to bed. I wake up and a rosary is sitting on my counter. And I don't remember the time that I woke up. It was probably like 8 a.m. My dad's gone at this point. My siblings are gone at work. So I'm like, it could have been one of them. And I happened to just like, didn't wake up. Although I'm a very light sleeper. That's something important to emphasize. I'm an extremely light sleeper. But so this rosary appears in my bedroom overnight. And so I don't ask my siblings, but I'm just like, I go up to them like, have you ever seen this before? Like, what do you know of this? And they didn't know anything, of course. They were like not interested. They have like things going on in their life. And then I asked my father, I'm like, ¿conoces este rosario de donde viene? And he was just like, no sé nada de eso. Because my dad's also like, my dad's religious, but he's not really religious. So he was like, cállate. So I was like, okay, perfect. I'm gonna leave now. So I went back to my bedroom, and this was when they had come home, and I had the rosary. So yeah, this rosary it has an interesting story because it appeared out of nowhere after I requested it from my grandmother to show me proof that this is all real. So I held that rosary very close to my heart. So that night, I began to pray the rosary and I cross it into my hands as I do now in the fashion in which I do. And so I go outside and I'm like, I was fully in that moment, even though I wasn't afraid. I was just like, anything can happen. I can be overpowered and I will be killed right now. I can be taken and I'll suddenly be in a coma for the rest of my life. Like, bitch, it's fine. Like, I had my Taco Bell that night, so I was like, I'm over it. Like, honestly, whatever. I wasn't taking it that leniently, but I was just like, if fate is fate, and I'm not gonna play with fate. I'm not gonna play God. You don't do that. So I went back out there, and I was obviously in this fashion, just like doing what I needed to do at the washer and dryer. I was putting the laundry into the dryer, and I was doing that. And so as I'm doing this, I hear things moving through the grass. And it's tall grass because it's also just like weedy grass. It's not like formal, like American looking, like white picket fence grass. Like, it's really long and it's like overgrown. So I'm like, I hear this and I don't think anything of it because I'm trying to think rationally. I'm like, this could be an animal. But then I feel another entity appear next to it. So the initial entity I felt watching me exposes its presence, and then a second one appears. And this one was a woman at this point. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting cornered. I'm like, oh shit, like, I'm outranked, like, tremendously. Because the energy I picked up was extremely sinister. It was extremely evil. And I immediately picked up that these things, whatever they were, whether they were coming in spirit or whether they were people on a mission, it doesn't matter to me. They had decades of experience, and I had professionally no more than 2 or no more than 1. So I was like, okay, I'm dying tonight. Cool. Like, sea lo que sea, I'm dying tonight. It's okay. So I continue. I didn't reveal my presence in the sense that I knew where they were. I just was like, okay, I'm dying tonight. I was kind of coming to terms with it because I was like, damn, I'm not going to be able to say anything to my parents or my siblings. And also, I had Taco Bell that night, and I was like, I really want McDonald's. I was just like being greedy, and I was like, damn, I didn't even get to like order my Big Mac. Like, okay, period. So I was coming to terms with the fact that I was going to die, which was excellent. As I'm just like literally putting my like dirty underwear in the dryer, or like I guess they were washed, not too much. And so you can feel their presence, and it was unstable because they were full of bloodlust. Like, I understood what they wanted to maybe do was kill me or like take possession of me, but they were standing still. They just wanted to initiate intimidation. Like, they had to let themselves be known, and they had to let their power be known, and that intimidated me because I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for any of this. I'm still not ready for any of this. God willingly, I'm here and I'm speaking about it and I'm doing the work and I'm committing myself to God in the way that I am, but I'm not, honestly, with God, I'm nothing. I don't know who I am without God, and I lack my ability to navigate myself because I also just like, I was thrown into this world with this work to do, and I was just like, anyways, I was pretty intimidated. I kept on doing what I was doing, and like I said, they were just standing there. They just needed their intimidation to be existing and to be read. And then I immediately feel one of them charge at me. So I feel the entity move closer to me in like a it was like I don't know I don't know what's the correct word to kind of address how they were moving, because they were moving so slowly in real time but so quickly spiritually. Like they were literally playing with the forces of like human and spiritual like separations. Like dimensions were being melted, and so I felt this one coming at me, and I was just like, you know what, like I've lived my life. Like I listened to Sin Miedo by Caliuchis. I had McDonald's. I had Chipotle in my life. Like I felt very fulfilled. I was satisfied. I was very satisfied. Um, but I was also kind of bummed out because I was like, I'm not ready to die. I don't think. I was kind of just like I was indifferent. I was like, damn, I would be alive, but it's like, damn, I'm gonna die. So one starts charging at me, and then the woman entity, or like this feminine entity, I should rather say, starts trying to put me in a trance. Like she starts to do this weird like I don't know, because at this point I've now turned around. I feel this energy charging at me. It's very sinister, it's very evil, and then you can't really see anything, you can just see silhouettes, and I see this like woman's hands moving in the air unnaturally, like just like you can't even recreate what I saw. I can't. So I was like, okay, y'all are fucking freaks. Like y'all are weirdos. And then that happens, and I like am turned around at this point, seeing them, and then with the most like demonic, ununderstandable sound, this woman starts yelling, "Grab him, take his soul." And because I think she wanted my body to become collateral damage, but then she was like, no, just take his soul, just take the soul, that's all we need. And the moment that she says that, he starts moving quicker physically. So he's already trying to make moves in the spiritual plane, but he has to grab my body physically. He has to have a physical touch before he did anything spiritually. So he starts moving closer to me. And at this point, for the most part, I was still stagnant. I was still just standing there, because I genuinely could not comprehend that there were two demonic beings about to take my soul. I was like, because then after all this happened, that kind of made me tap into like, what does it mean to have my soul? What does it mean to live different lives with my soul? Like, what does this mean? What does my current affairs and the worldly existence mean for my soul in the later time? Anyway, I'm stagnant. I'm just standing there. But by the time she says that, I kind of go into fight or flight. And I wouldn't necessarily say I fought. I would just say that I entered a spiritual trance the moment that happened. I'm holding out my rosary. I wish I could demonstrate better, but I'm holding out my rosary at this point, pointed at them. And I, at this point, still don't know any prayers. I never learned my Our Father. I never learned my Hail Mary up until the last time I was in Mexico, when I went and did my first communion after I came to God. So I didn't know any prayers at this point. I just willed my rosary because I knew it protected me. And the moment that I held my rosary out, the words just started falling out of my mouth. Like, and I only pray in Spanish at this point because I did my first communion in Mexico, so I was taught in Spanish. So, and I start just like projecting Hail Marys like there was no tomorrow. Because honestly, at that point, there was no tomorrow. So imagine, I have this rosary in my hand. I have two parasites, like two demonic beings or entities, trying to take my soul. One of them is charging at me. One of them is doing like weird hand movements that's trying to like put me in a trance. And I'm standing there, flesh and bone, with my rosary, screaming prophetic religious prayers that I had never learned before. Something took over my body. I start projecting my prayers as loud as I can, and it's genuinely prayers that I had never learned before. And it was like, Dios te salva Maria, llena eres de, like I was just, it just started coming out like a water fountain of prayer. And in that very moment, I felt them step back. So this entity's charging at me. He steps back, and so does she. And she stops her weird hand movements. And I don't think they expected that, because I also didn't expect divine intervention to come in and protect me. I was just kind of like, I'm existing right now. I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's going to have to work. So I keep on praying, and it's becoming more and more persistent. And so then they, of course, become even more hungry because they felt a challenge. They felt like somebody just like took up arms against them. So I kept on doing that, and then they became more persistent. So then she like went back into her like trying to put me in a trance with her hands or whatever, and it became more hostile. Her hands started moving more demonically in ways that I couldn't process, and he starts trying to come at me quicker. So at this point, he's probably like 2 feet from my body. And then I felt the presence of an angel come through. I had never had this before. It was one of the more powerful things ever happened to me. I felt the power of an angel stab through my body. It was a sword. It was like an angelic metaphorical sword. It stabs through my body, and it like a protective field appears around me. I know this sounds so crazy. Honestly, if you're having a hard time with this story, just take it as storytelling. Even though I'm telling you the truth, just take it as I'm telling you a fun story. A protective barrier appears around me. And my prayers become more and more prophetic. Like, I've said words in Spanish during that prayer that I never understood, and I still don't understand. I don't even remember some of the words I said. But so I keep on praying rigorously and without fail, and this protective field becomes bigger and bigger until he has to get pushed away. And at this point, as I'm gripping my rosary, it starts shaking. So obviously you see as it is now, and I can kind of move it, and it kind of becomes, but I was standing still like a rock, just praying, and the dangling amount of rosary was like shaking prophetically in like an unnatural way. And when that started happening, that was when I really like, because I was already kind of holding it out, but I like threw it at them. I threw my hand at them, and I started praying even harder. Again, prayers that I never learned before. And in that moment, when I threw my hand out and I threw my prayer, and I projected my prayer directly at them, they like dissipated. They disappeared just like that. And I don't believe that I took care of them in that instance. I have now. In that instance, they had just like disappeared. They just left because I think they felt outranked, even though I don't believe it wasn't me. Like I said, with God, I am nothing. And that thing that happened to me was so powerful and so prophetic, it felt so mystical. So then they disappear, and then everything disappears around me. So like they disappear, and then the like protective field disappears. The sword that was implanted in my heart like disappears, and then my rosary stops shaking, and I stop remembering what I'm saying. I like don't. I stopped, and that's it. That was it for that. Like, and imagine like I had to go, like, and then like my clothes were still like halfway into the dryer, and like I had to just put the rest of my clothes in the dryer and then go back inside as if nothing happened. And I quite honestly have not ever told this story in this detail because I don't, like I said before, I don't like to be misunderstood. And so I feel like if I ever tell this story, people are like, yeah, okay. Especially because like now, if I was living during like the 1300s, this would be tea. But now people are kind of just like, oh, you're probably like sick, or you probably like need help, which is not fair because people go through things, and things happen, and things were said, and yeah. So that happened that night, and then the next morning, I woke up as if nothing happened, and that particular rosary, I had actually brought it here to New York, and it broke. It broke at like, I think I was at like Pier 33, and it like broke on itself. Even though I was like twisting, I was like playing with it. It like broke. And then the collar disappeared, like the actual like necklace part, not like the extended rosary with the cross. The collar disappeared. So I was like, okay, interesting, because I didn't have to bury it. I didn't have to go and get rid of it. It just disappeared. So that was very prophetic for me, and that was very like for me that was also my grandma trying to assist me in whatever way she could, because um I'm sure you can I'm sure you read into it. My grandma's dead. She was never I never met her in real life, in the human life. So yeah, man, it was an interesting story, and these two characters were people who took common place in my life for the previous 2 years. I saw them several times after that, and they made several attempts. It was not until I stabbed one of them with a metaphorical knife, with a metaphorical biblical knife, or I slashed them, and then I have never seen them since. That I so yeah, that was very scary, and I was kind of just like, I was more than anything kind of taken aback, because I was just like, what am I meant to do now? Like, that happened, and it was whatever. Like, okay, but after that, because I didn't, and I still don't really have guidance. I still don't have like a really formative or like formal teacher to teach me things. I'm learning this as I go, except for the church. Of course, I take homage in the church, but like, that happened, and I was like, so what do I do about this? Like, it was not easy, and it hasn't really been easy either. Like, I kind of have been able to get away from it all now, living across the country, but even now, like, I went and visited a cathedral, um and I went into like one of the like rooms where they had like all the bodies, but like just cremated bodies, and then one of the spirits followed me home and was like incanting my house for like a week until I made it leave, which was also tough, because I was just like, I made this spirit leave, but then it's like, what now? Like, what of them now? I have a very hard time with that. But yeah, that's kind of one of the more intimate, scary stories I have, because I was, even though I understand backup was brought, God and whatever angel came to protect me, I had backup, but at the time, in the moment, I felt very alone, and I felt very vulnerable, because I didn't speak to my brother that night. He was just like in his room, and then my other brother was like across the trailer, and so was my dad. So I felt isolated, and I also felt in danger the rest of that night, because I was just like, a part of me still doesn't believe it. A part of me was like, did that really happen? Like, did that really happen? Like, don't fucking play with me. But it did really happen, and it was really interesting to have happen to me, because I don't think I'm never gonna be able to like replay that mystic event for anybody. Like, that's for me to know, and that's for me to know that it had happened, and all I can do is sit here and spread my story, because I am simply a messenger. That's all I'm here for, is to message and maybe help some people along the way. So quite honestly, that's all I have for you today. I wish I could follow up what happened with them, but I have far too much on my plate right now, especially because I'm going back to Mexico in December, and there's a spirit there, a really evil spirit that I procrastinated taking care of for years at this point, and I went back and I had a dream about her, so I know she's waiting for me. So I'm just trying to mentally prepare myself to have to once again exercise or extract a parasite from our home, because it's our home. It's not yours, bitch. Like, you need to go. So Yeah, I just have a lot on my plate and I'm really nervous about that. And maybe everything is falling in place for a reason. Like maybe like I had to come up on that Mexico ticket for a reason and so on and so forth. So like we'll see what happens and I'm honestly like I'll keep you guys updated. But luckily, because I am going to Mexico, I'm gonna take some of my equipment. I'm just gonna buy a tripod there and just keep it there. You'll be getting a family episode, like have my brothers pop in, and then I want to tell funny stories with my sister, because when my parents had the divorce, me and my sister split off together, and then my two brothers stayed together. So I think it would be fun to tell those stories and then do a podcast in Spanish. I think that would be really fun because I really want to have my mom on too. Kind of have the family jump in and out. I think that would be great. You're going to see how bad my Spanish is. Here, let's try for a second, right? If you speak Spanish. Mi español no está perfecto. Está terrible. Cuando yo estaba viviendo en México, yo sentí como que se estaba mejorando, pero cualquier cosa que yo dije o estaba platicando, sabían. My nickname was el chico americano when I would go to stores. So I was like, fuck you, like don't play with me. But I'm gonna do my best and I'm gonna try because I'm not gonna pull an Astrovino on y'all. Oh, you don't know Spanish. Or what did she say? She's like, oh, I forgot you don't know Spanish. Fuck, what'd she say though? I don't remember. It's the really funny one though. It's like the more popular one. Like, if you want. Oh, si quieres. Oh wait, I forgot you don't know Spanish. If you want. If you want to watch that episode, it hopefully will come. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm probably gonna cut it short just because I do have to get ready for work. And I am gonna have another coffee because I'm a neurotic freak. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I added some new things to the set before I go. I don't know if you picked up on it. I have the Pearl movie. It was like $5 at Barnes and Noble, and then I put up my Frank, Amy Winehouse CD because it's my favorite Amy Winehouse album. Sorry, it's a back to black. Sorry. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed my storytelling. If you would like to hear more, text me so that we can talk about it, or I can bring up particular stories because I have a lot. I have a lot of stories. I have the story about the woman in Mexico. I have another story when I was living in Mexico where I was, believe it or not, I was put into paralysis by La Llorona. That did happen. That was fun. That was interesting. And I have more, like the premonition of my death. That one was very interesting because it's everything that I've seen in that premonition has come true except for my death so far. So don't play with me. And then I could also tell the story of how when I was praying, I had the Holy Spirit enter my body. And I literally entered a trance and I was crying in the church for like 40 minutes. Let me know. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back if you did, and thank you for being here for the first time ever. If you're here for the first time ever, I'm over it. Thank you so much. Please, maybe please like subscribe, like hit the subscribe button just so you don't forget about me, because my Instagram with 500 followers can only go so far. So thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys soon. We'll talk soon.